Added officers on the ground and increased patrols throughout the capital after another 2 men lose their lives to gun violence overnight, prompting an impassioned plea from a leading clergyman. In the still of the night, police found a man, his bullet-riddled body face up, his blood soaking the sand. As crime scene investigators dusted and collected evidence in small orange cones strategically placed at the scene, the lifeless body was bagged and placed in a waiting hearse that slowly drove off. The who, what, and where we get from officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department, Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, who says gunshots rang out in the South Beach Blue Hill Road area around 9:15 p.m. Sunday.
Control room was alerted. Police officers came into this area where they met the body of a male. He was suffering from wounds that are consistent with gunshots. There was nobody else in this area. We have no identity on this male. He appears to be in his early 20s. And he was lifeless.
Now, as for the motive behind the shooting, that's not yet been revealed. Unknown to the police, his identity would come from a next of kin. This latest incident just 2 hours ahead of another in Western New Providence. The victim in this case, a 39-year-old Flamingo Gardens resident who detectives found outside a business in Gambier Heights. His body bearing the marks of multiple gunshots, the third such victim for this month alone, all shot to death. Outspoken clergyman Bishop Simeon Hall has for years decried murders, at every turn calling for each and every Bahamian to do his or her part to end the bloodshed.
Well, each of us must take some responsibility for the status to which our country has sunk. 128 murders last year, and on this present trajectory, we will surpass that. I pray that does not happen. Every mother, every father who knows of a gun in your house, turn in the gun, turn in your son. It is better to call the police than to call the undertaker.
Bishop Hall went on to call on National Security Minister the Honourable Wayne Munro to take a second look at the Bail Act, perhaps, he says, going as far as taking away the constitutional right of those found with illegal firearms.
We need to save a generation. We need to save the next generation. And one way is to report the crime. Some Christians engage in what I call sanctified silence, because you know your son is in crime and yet you are silent. Report your son, or you will face funeral expenses. Let's do it together and make a better country.
Minister Munro recently told reporters that people who violate their bail will have it revoked and be made more accountable.